So if you've seen any of my older videos on training eagles and things, you'll see we've got a piece of car mat that the food's being placed on. We're not just bunging it on the grass. That encourages an eagle in the hunting field to float around, scanning the ground for bits of food, and then they'll spot sitting hares in the form, and if they mug those, now you've just taught your eagle it doesn't need to chase game, it doesn't need to come back. All it needs to do once free is fly around gently, floating on the air, scanning the ground below for food, and now hares in their forms. Nothing like a car mat in nature. That's his target mat, that's where the food is. And then of course you can train him to fly backwards like Kyle does without even rebaiting the mat. Just like training a bird to a T-perch, it'll learn to fly back, because once it touches base and turns around again, it can fly back to the falconer for a bit of food. Zeus has always been treated a bit lazily, and I tend to rebait the mat and let him fly back to it. Nice bit of scenery. After the Spanish sky trials, I've got to tell you, we're out here today freezing our Nicky Nacky Nunas off for sure. So start off, if you haven't watched the old videos, start off with a full car mat, easy to see from afar, and then for convenience just cut it down to about a foot square, slips in the back of your vest then. Still the same target mat, and no, he doesn't go looking for car mats. A little bit of food in the grass, very different thing, but no, he doesn't go looking for car mats laying in the grass.
No, that's my shoulder.
And of course, flying golden eagles, if you can't hood them, is just absurd. You're flying in windy outdoor places, maybe okay in the sagebrush of the States, flying it like a goshawk where it can see stuff, or off the soar. In the UK, we need to be able to fly these birds out of the hood. So it makes all this kind of thing perfectly easy, no stress at all. So he's come back to his mat. Kieran's getting some distance. And I love the fact that he's not looking at me at all. I worked with this guy alone for most of a decade, but he now understands that it's not me that's flying him this year. Not looking at me for food. I have got my falconry vest on. He knows Kieran's his buddy for the year for sure. Kyle flew him last year, and to be honest, he's really got the idea of working with other people now. So if you fly falcons and goshawks, this eagle's flying weight is 8 pounds 8 ounces. He's having day-old cockerels today. How many chicks do you think he's going to have to hold his weight? Comment below, I'll tell you in a minute. 8 pound 8 ounces. If you fly falcons or goshawks, how many day-old cockerels do you think he's got to eat today, doing mild exercise, to keep him on weight for tomorrow? 10, 12, 20, what do you reckon? And of course the weighted line means he can't flap and glide all the way back. He has got to actually flap his wings. That's the whole point of a rope line. It's not to be weighty and heavy. Hasn't got to drag the rope. It's just to keep his wings going, rather than just gliding along like a bird of prey tends to do. He's got to flap and fly the whole distance. So 5 or 6 day-old chicks, he'll be back on the same weight tomorrow. Probably less than a peregrine falcon would need at flying weight by far. Crazy. Buzzards and eagles, very different metabolism from falcons and accipiters for sure. Kieran's about to drop down dead from lack of oxygen, so we're going to do a bit of work with the goshawk. We've just come back from the sky trials. Kyle fattened her up. He was going to fly her, but you guys had the worst storms ever apparently, so he didn't bother going out. He's got this cold flu thing. So my 2 pound 4 goshawk came home at 2 pound 12. She's 2 pound 8 today. Just going to see how she's on the credence line, so we can get her out in a couple of days time hopefully. So last time Kieran took this guy out hunting, he caught his first hare pretty much. It was first flight, wasn't it, Kieran?
Yep, certainly was.
Hopefully we'll get out again soon. So big old brutes really, but look at that, gentle, just gentle with their beaks, just like when they're feeding their chicks and things. It can be very much a ripping tool, or it can be a little pair of tweezers, a very gentle preening or feeding. And just like any nice bird you work with, his manners and attitude are lovely. No aggression around the food or anything like that. A beautiful, beautiful creature. What a beauty. I miss flying him. I'm glad someone else is carrying him. The goshawk, definitely easier on my knackered shoulder muscles and trapped nerve in my arm. They do take their toll on you. Flying eagles, have you noticed it? I mean, it does take its toll on your body, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does, yeah.
It's a big thing in your personal space to carry around and walk normally, and it weighs a fair bit as well. But I think it's the size more than the weight. I think if it was the size of a sparrowhawk, it'd be a lot more manageable, even if it weighed 8 pounds.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It invades your personal space. You can't stand
no
normally, can you?
No.
You walk differently and stand differently.
Yeah, definitely train new muscles. And
Yeah. The trees will be the telltale thing, but I'm not going to bother. Buddy. Have you noticed what I'm doing wrong? I'll tell you in a minute if you haven't. Comment below. So one thing I always say on my training videos is, call the bird to what you're going to feed it. What it comes for, it has. One way of creating snatchy feet and peed off aggressive bird is to let it have a bite of a big bit of food, like half a rat or something, and then pull the food away and put it in your pocket. Your bird sees that. But falconry is a very fluid thing, so do what I say, don't what I do. Don't do what I do, that's absolute. So with her, because of all the problems and the way she went backwards with recall, she now gets to see quite a bit of food, not a half rat, but the bum end of a chick, let's say. And then I'll give her a leg, and while she's eating that, I will snatch the food away. It has to be fluid. Sometimes with birds of prey, you have to do things that are counterintuitive or that you don't like doing. Sometimes a means to an end for sure. So one thing I will say on these videos is, I'll always show you the bad stuff that I do. Hopefully it helps people learn a different way, but for sure, at the moment I call her to quite a visible bit of food. I do that for a few beakfuls, and I'll give her a leg or something she has to lift up and take that food away. But for sure, not what I like to be doing. This is a sort of goshawk habitat I'd love to have loads of, especially when woodland rabbits abounded as well. You just never know what you're going to find. Perfect flying for a goshawk. Oh, Kyle! high in that tree. Yeah. A few animals drowned in there. The capping's broke. Fran, there's gonna be a fucking dog in there in a minute. Get away. A little mouse down there. The boys are gonna try and rescue the mouse. Operation Mouse Rescue. That's it, you can get on it now. Oh yeah, go on. Oh, you squashed him!
No.
Dad, it's too fluffed up. I think he's going to on the boat.
Yeah, he must be starving. The other one's just dead, aren't they? In there? Oh, a little vole, you can do it.
Come on, man.
He's not thirsty.
He's not going to die first, no.
No, he can easily come on that if you want.
Yeah, he's got 2 chances now, hasn't he? More than he had an hour ago, or 5 minutes ago now. He's just got to hold on tight, hasn't he? Buddy! What are you doing? Oh, yeah. Don't sit on that water. Like bramble infested in here. A great sleeping place. Quite a lot of ground game, as you can imagine. So these big things are hard to walk on. And when they're covered in frost, they're pretty treacherous. But they do hold ground game well. Hares can run up the tracks between them, flat out for sure. So blowing a gale out there. We just had a slip with Kyle's eagle. As the hair turned into the wind, it basically, the eagle got blown away, really. Big open fields, howling across. But we found, yeah, we've been driving around and found another one, the guys. So we're going to have another slip. Very, very rough. You can hear it howling around the van, I think. And the last one, I've got AF lock on, so it filmed an absolute blur. We'll try and see, get a flight with this one. Not easy downwind, eh? It's even got pollen on its pollen baskets. What's the date? 22nd? 23rd of December in the UK. So we're out locally. We're actually bordering onto the estate, but on different land. And Tommy's knows someone that knows someone. And we're out trying to find some open warrens that Tommy can ferret for this girl here who looks like she's seen something, and Tommy's Alan. So hoping to get a few flights, hoping that there's some rabbits in these open warrens and they're not all sort of in the impenetrable sort of hedgerows, if you like. She's really keen, she's bang on your rack. She's certainly going to try and catch stuff, and it'll be a good opportunity. She's only ever seen ferrets once, so again, good opportunity for her hopefully to realise ferrets are her friends. Now it is cold. We've had 3 days of horrendous storms, and I mean windy. We've just been to the Falconry Centre and watched the bumblebee. It's the 23rd of December in the UK. We've watched a bumblebee feeding on hellebores, and its pollen baskets are full. It is cold. It's unheard of when I was a kid. You just didn't see them around at Christmas. Times definitely changing. How old's this one, Tommy?
Last summer's kit. Okay, so yeah, about a year old, not quite a year old.
He's prime.
Yeah.
Is it a boy?
Jill, yeah. Nice fat Jill.
Yeah, is he pregnant? Now it might be December, but we're not looking for great sport. We're looking for kills for this bird. That's how far behind we are when it comes to finding game this year. We've put a lot of time into the niceties and getting the bird bomb-proof. We're doing everything we can with the bird that we can in the first season, but we're certainly struggling to find game. Fucking hell. That is literally, look at that. Shit. So it must have been, because I've never seen anything. I kind of, oh, look at that. Holy fuck.
Smell like a bird.
Shit, Dave. Oh, it's the downside of falconry. So if you've been following Birdie's story, you know we've been really struggling to find game. We've got this bird, so lovely in every way now, recalled. As good as an imprint when it's totally bomb-proof. Tommy's invited me out ferreting. We've done some ferreting, very difficult. Not helped by missing the first rabbit and then going up into a tree, flying to a lake, trying to take a moorhen. So we've had to mess about, try and dry her off. Got her dry. That's close. Luckily a bit of breeze. We did some more ferreting, had a couple of difficult slips, that tricky stuff in hedgerows. And then we just come out, had a slip at her hair. She pulls off her hairs all the time. She hasn't got that confidence, she hasn't caught enough to have confidence. It smells bad. We just come out with a thermal. Slipped her hair miles away for the exercise. She's pulled off and then flew equally as far up a hill, not to land on a tree for a change, landed on a railway siding some distance away. Called her to the lure. She came along, decided to sit on another overhead gantry before coming back. Turned around, she's on the electric cable, literally probably the end of the transmitter, just touched the metal upright, so earthed herself out. If it was on film, it would have probably burnt the cameras out, because Tommy, I've never heard a sonic boom and seen a flash of light like it. This was no dangling off of a grey box, rigid. This went like a boom. I can still see it when I blink. It's damaged my retinas, but look at this damage. So bless her, that leg's all contorted. It's cooked like it's hot, and it smells like it's cooked. So the only good thing we can say for poor old Birdie, I mean, that's actually, that ring is actually, that's, look at this. That's unbelievable, isn't it? That is unbelievable, isn't it? That's literally just blowing a leg. The only good thing, I don't think you could have got a more instant death. It was instantaneous. And if you want to say go out with a bang, but what a fucking shame. A totally wasted bird. Totally wasted. Thanks to Tommy for bringing me out. That's my season. Fucked. I'm still there. That's an insane amount of heat, isn't it? To cook your leg and split your bone in half. So what a blessing, because you wouldn't want to find that bird still alive from that kind of injury. What a blessing, it was instant. Poor old girl. So realistically, can that have been avoided, bless her? Yes, definitely. But the thing is, when we're flying these birds free, whether for displays, probably more so for displays actually, because of the areas you've got to fly, but displays or hunting, the reality is, when the bird leaves your glove, accidents can happen. She's already either gone for a moorhen, or we think might have even been her own reflection and dived in a pond. Now that's fine, we dried her off, no problem, back out. That could have been a problem in its own right. We're flying quite away from this railway line, but at the end of the day, the railway line's in sight. You don't fly where there's a grey box where your bird's naturally going to perch and blow up or have a good chance. You're mitigating and you're gauging risk all of the time. If you fly a bird in a perfect setting and you lose that bird, it can end up anywhere. There's that as well. There might not be a grey box that you know of on your land, but if your eagle or your falcon flies off and lands on one somewhere else, so on and so forth. There's stuff we cock up. You don't use your telemetry. You don't even use telemetry. You don't use the telemetry properly. You fly birds in the most stupidest, dangerous places. You take a bird underway and it has a fit because you've fucked up. But then there's risks that you don't take. They're the risks that can cause problems, and you should know better, I guess. There's things like this where, yes, we could have avoided the area. We wasn't flying along the railway line. The bird decided it was going to fly a hair a long way and then fly a long way to something to land on. Now, if you turn around, it was nearer to some lovely trees, but for whatever reason, it decided to pull uphill and land up there. That's the way it is. There's nothing you can do about it to a degree. You can cry, the shock hasn't really set in yet. I can't say this is a brilliant bird. It's caught nothing hardly, 3 or 4 items this season. The whole thing has been about finding game and how bad the season's been. But when you take a bird on at 9 or 10 weeks old, you do the manning, you do the training, and literally before we slipped this bird, I said to Tommy, at least I'm getting time to put in all the groundwork this year. If nothing else, I said it's as good as an imprint, rock steady bird. Now we've got the recall back and so on and so forth. Just putting the groundwork in, it's a lot of time and effort, as well as the frustration of not finding enough game, which is absolute killer if you're trying to do falconry. But yeah, a shout out really to just say, don't make the obvious mistakes, don't make the cutting corners lazy mistakes, but things like this, sometimes shit happens, and it's always got the potential to happen the minute the bird leaves the glove. What a waste. Rich has put 9 or 10 weeks of this year into this bird, not just all the work he puts into those breeding pairs before and then. So someone's put a lot of effort into produce a really unusual and sort of still quite a rare bird in Falconry, in Albedos goshawk. I've put in a lot of time now, and we've ended up with literally, I don't know, an accompaniment to the Christmas dinner, maybe. I doubt it. Stay tuned. Don't know where we're going from here. Probably to the pub. So my day started like this, and it ended with me knocking half a pint over in the pub at the end of the day, so it really did go like that. So Birdie, bless her, Kyle caught a rabbit with her first time out. I caught a very small hare with her, one of her first times out, and she had a lovely slip and a catch on a cock pheasant, and that was it. But why did I show you this gory ending? It would have been wrong not to. At the end of the day, we've all followed her story from an egg. To just gloss over it or not mention it and let it fizzle out, I think would have been wrong. I think we all and you all deserve to see exactly what happened and how it happened, really. It was instant. She certainly wouldn't have suffered. But we did make a beautiful bird. I didn't know if I wanted another goshawk. My last one was so good, and I was so proud of her for being just as good, in the fact that she was utterly bomb-proof, as good as any imprint, and totally lovely, no footy behaviour at all. Just a wonderful bird to have around, and I shall miss looking out the French doors and seeing her sitting in the garden preening for sure. Very tragic, very tragic indeed. But I've got to tell you, I've got close friends, and then wider friends, and then the Facebook friends that are suffering with family problems, serious illness, and tragedies that do utterly make this insignificant. As harsh as that sounds, there are people way worse than me. Of course, I know you guys, most of you will be sympathetic. We're all partly crushed when we see another falconer lose a good bird, or their bird in a tragic circumstance in any way. But that's not what this video is about. That's not why this is here at the end. It is just to recap and show you the start and the end of her story, for sure. Will it ruin my Christmas? No, it won't. I love Christmas when it's here. And, you know, there are people far worse off that I hope they have good Christmases, and I hope you guys are having a great Christmas, even if it's time to just put your worries to the side just for a couple of days and just reset for the coming of the new year. And let's hope it's better in some ways maybe than the ones that we're having now. I don't know. But I've enjoyed every minute of this bird. What has she cost me? Months of my time and effort. All most enjoyable, you know, all most enjoyable, not almost. Excuse me. She's cost me a beautiful bird and her life, and just a wonderful creature. And if you want to be crass, the whole incident's probably cost me £2,500. And most of us, me included, can't just think, oh well, not to worry, let's get another one. Of course not. That's a significant amount of money that we spend on our falconry, and it's no small thing.
but it's by far and away the least of it. By far and away, that is just insignificant. Hope you've enjoyed the story. Hope you enjoyed the channel up to now. And here's to a new year full of lots more helping videos and action videos. And who knows what next season will bring. For now, time to crack out the drone and film with the people's falconry for sure.